Welcome back to Financial Fundamentals, where we break down money concepts in a way that actually makes sense. Today, sit back, listen up, and learn about something that could genuinely change your financial life: how to pay off debt faster. Specifically, we are going to walk through two popular strategies called the Debt Snowball and the Debt Avalanche. And by the end of this, you will know exactly what each one is, how they work, and how to figure out which one is actually right for you. Let's start with why this matters, because it really does matter. If you are carrying credit card debt right now, you might already have a sense that it feels expensive, but let's make that concrete. In the United States, credit cards often charge over 20% APR. APR stands for annual percentage rate, which is just the yearly cost of borrowing money expressed as a percentage. So if you have a $2,000 balance on a card charging 22% APR and you are only making minimum payments, you are paying hundreds of dollars a year just in interest. That is money leaving your pocket every single month without reducing what you owe by very much at all. The thing is, a lot of people with debt are not avoiding it because they do not care. They are avoiding it because it feels overwhelming. There are multiple balances, different interest rates, different minimum payments, and it is hard to know where to even start. That is exactly the problem that these two strategies solve. They give you a clear order of operations. They give you a plan, and having a plan is more powerful than you might think. So let's get into it. The first method is called the Debt Snowball. This approach was popularized by personal finance author Dave Ramsey, and here is how it works. You list out all of your debts from the smallest balance to the largest balance, not by interest rate, not by monthly payment, just by the total amount you owe, smallest to largest. Then you continue paying the minimum required payment on every single debt except the smallest one. On that smallest debt, you throw every extra dollar you can find at it. You pay it off as fast as possible. Once it is gone, you take everything you were paying on that debt, the minimum plus your extra, and you roll it all over to the next smallest balance. That is the snowball. You are literally rolling a bigger and bigger payment amount down the list as each debt disappears. Now, quick question for you. Think about how you feel when you cross something off a to-do list. That small moment of satisfaction, that sense of progress. That is actually the entire psychological engine behind the debt snowball. Those early wins are real, they are motivating, and motivation, as we will talk about in a moment, is not a soft benefit. It is a critical ingredient in whether a plan actually works. The second method is called the Debt Avalanche. Same starting point, but different ordering. Instead of listing debts from smallest to largest balance, you list them from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. That is the only thing that changes. You still pay minimums on everything, and you still throw every extra dollar at the debt at the top of your list. But now the debt at the top is the one that is costing you the most money, not the one with the smallest balance. You attack the most expensive debt first. When that is gone, you roll the payment to the next highest rate debt, and so on. Mathematically, the debt avalanche almost always costs you less money in total interest, and it often gets you out of debt a little faster. The reason is simple. By eliminating your highest interest rate debt first, you slow the growth of interest charges as quickly as possible. The math genuinely favors this approach. So why does anyone use the snowball at all? Great question. And this is where it gets really interesting. A 2012 study out of Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management looked at how people actually behave when paying off debt. Not how they should behave, how they actually do. And what they found was that people who focused on their smallest balances first were actually more likely to eliminate their debt entirely. Not because the math was better, but because the quick wins kept them going. Behavior matters as much as the math. A plan that saves you a few $100s in interest means nothing if you lose motivation halfway through and quit. The best debt payoff strategy is the one you will actually stick with. Okay, let's pause and recap what we know so far, because this is exactly the kind of thing that is worth making sure we have clear before moving forward. We have covered two methods. Debt snowball. List debt's smallest to largest balance. Attack the smallest first, build momentum with quick wins. Debt avalanche. List debt's highest to lowest interest rate. Attack the most expensive first, minimize total interest paid over time. Snowball wins on motivation. Avalanche wins on math. Both are legitimate, both work. The key is choosing the one that fits how you are actually wired as a person. Now, before we look at a real example, there are two things that are true of both methods. And if these conditions are not met, neither plan will work. First, you have to stop adding new debt. If you are paying down a credit card on one end and adding new charges on the other end, you are running in place. The payoff strategy assumes you are not making the pile bigger while you are trying to make it smaller. Second, you need a consistent extra payment amount each month. Both methods depend on you having something beyond the minimums to throw at your target debt. Even if it is $20 a month, that is something to work with. The plan works by concentrating your extra firepower on one debt at a time. If there is no extra, there is no acceleration. And one more thing that a lot of people get wrong. Many people worry that paying down debt will hurt their credit score. For credit cards especially, the opposite is actually true. When you pay down credit card balances, you lower something called your credit utilization ratio, which is just the percentage of your available credit that you are using. Lowering that ratio typically helps your credit score over time, not hurts it. Now let's walk through an example. And I want to be very clear. This is an illustrative example with round numbers designed to make the concept easy to see. It is not a prediction of what your results would be because every person's situation is different. Imagine you have 3 debts. Debt A is $500 at 6% APR, Debt B is $2,000 at 22% APR, Debt C is $5,000 at 9% APR. Your minimum payments across all 3 add up to $150 a month. You have found a way to free up an extra $300 a month to throw at debt. So your total monthly payment is $450. Using the Debt Snowball, you would order them like this. Debt A first at $500, then Debt C at $5,000, then Debt B at $2,000. Wait, is that right? Yes. Remember, Snowball goes by balance, smallest to largest. So Debt A with $500 is your target first. With $300 extra pointed at it, you wipe it out in roughly 2 months. That feels great. Then you roll that entire payment onto Debt C, then eventually onto Debt B. Using the Debt Avalanche, the order flips. Debt B at 22% goes first, then Debt C at 9%, then Debt A at 6%. That $2,000 balance at 22% is your first target. It takes longer to get that first win than knocking out the $500 balance would. But over the full life of the payoff, you end up paying less in total interest, often by a few $100s in a scenario like this. Same 3 debts, same $450 a month. Different order, different total cost, different emotional experience along the way. Here's a reflection question for you. Given those 2 paths, which one feels more like something you would actually stick with for a year or 2? Because here's a truth that does not get talked about enough. The best financial plan is not the one that is perfect on a spreadsheet. It is the one that you actually execute. If you know yourself and you know that you need early wins to stay motivated, there is no shame in choosing the snowball. If you are wired to follow the numbers and can stay focused on a longer runway, the avalanche might be your thing. And here's something else worth knowing. Hybrid approaches are completely valid. Some people use the snowball to knock out 1 or 2 small debts right away for the morale boost, then switch to the avalanche once they feel the momentum. That is not cheating. That is smart. One last thing before we wrap up. Interest rates, minimum payment amounts, and credit card APRs are not fixed forever. They vary by lender. They can change over time, and they vary depending on where you live in the world. Before you build your own payoff plan, check your current statements. Use the real numbers, not estimates. The strategy only works when it is built on accurate information. Here at Financial Fundamentals, this is exactly what we are here for. Taking money concepts that can feel complicated or overwhelming and making them clear step by step, so you actually understand what is going on with your money. And if this kind of lesson is helpful to you, we would genuinely love for you to hit the like button. It helps more people find this content, and it means a lot. If you know someone who is trying to tackle debt right now, share this with them. Sometimes the most helpful thing you can do for someone is send them a resource that makes things click. And please leave a comment below. If you have a question about what we covered, ask it. If there is a money topic you want us to break down next, tell us. We go through every comment, and your suggestions genuinely shape what we cover next. If you are not subscribed yet, now is a great time to do that so you do not miss future lessons. So let's land on the one big takeaway from today. Both the Debt Snowball and the Debt Avalanche are real, proven strategies for getting out of debt faster. The snowball gives you quick wins and keeps you motivated. The avalanche saves you more money mathematically. Neither one works if you keep adding new debt or stop making extra payments. And the right choice is not about which one looks better on paper. It is about which one you will actually follow through on. Know yourself, pick your order, and start. This video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Markets and investments carry risk, including the possible loss of principal. Always do your own research and consult a licensed financial professional before making investment, tax, or money decisions.